And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes.
Hey, welcome to the show. Thanks for spending time with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We've got Representatives Berny Jaques back in studio with us. We're going to talk about a lot of different topics. Hopefully we can hit on them all, but we've got Florida DOGE, the election integrity. Governor DeSantis passed the SAVE Act in Florida, also banning Sharia law, and also the early pick, his pick for governor for the state of Florida. We got a great problem. We got a lot of great candidates. So we'll see, there. And then, looking at some other things happening out there in Tampa Bay. I think Florida DOGE is going to be a pivotal conversation to have. We're looking at another county just came in. I believe this is the latest county. Florida CFO says St. Lucie County overspent by $46 million, pushes for local property tax cuts. So we'll dive into that with Berny Jaques here, longtime friend of the program. A couple of hot listings. We'll jump right into it. We've got a beautiful commercial listing at 100 East Shell Point Road. This is a very unique building. Check out this property. It's very unique. You probably won't find anything else like it. 6,700 plus square feet, half-acre lot. This is a zoning that is RTC1, and it's 100 East Shell Point Road in Ruskin. Great opportunity for a commercial building, large commercial space. The main floor was renovated recently. And you got lots of opportunities, residential rental, retail, office space, creative studios, galleries, maybe a work share location, workspace type deal. Great opportunity at 100 East Shell Point right here in beautiful Ruskin, Florida. We also have a beautiful single-family home at 2488 Del Rio Way in Dunedin. This is a awesome renovation property, completely renovated in Dunedin, heart of Pinellas County. It's a 321, 1407 square feet, fenced-in backyard. You've got the artificial turf in the back. Great opportunity to own a completely renovated property here, all the way down to the windows. You've got brand-new windows there as well. Great opportunity to buy real estate. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And you can see all of our radio, TV show expert contributors and link over to our YouTube channel and socials at consumerqb.com.
And yeah, I'm raising my glass to those saving our ass overseas.
That's right. Yeah, shout out to our troops overseas and Berny Jaques. Welcome back in. A lot of positive things happening out there and in Tampa Bay. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, man. So Florida DOGE, that's been the talk of the town lately. I have some other folks from the other side of the aisle over on the show from time to time, and they want to kind of paint it as this kind of a little bit of a mirage, is trying to create, what's the story behind Florida DOGE?
It's not a mirage. Look, it's very real, and I'm glad we're doing it. And this started at the national level, right? Yeah. Once President Trump won and that mandate in the 2024 elections, one of the big mandates was to DOGE government. And so we saw guys like covered at the federal level, and to our credit as a state under the leadership of Governor DeSantis and our Republican leaders, we wanted to do something similar. Why just wait on the federal government? There's plenty of waste to go around. It's not just in Washington, D.C. Even in well-run states like Florida, you can always find savings. You can always find that local government that is misspending your taxpayer dollars. And they found that to the tune of millions and millions of dollars. And I can share some examples with you. Brandon, these things are not made up. These things are not cheap. For example, in Pinellas County, where I'm from, the county spent $75,000 every year to sponsor the annual Pride Festival. That's $75,000 of our taxpayer dollars.
Yes.
In the city of St. Petersburg, within Pinellas, they paid $258,000, including funds from the city's utility and EMS funds to support Pride events, and also spent $307,000 on climate action to promote Green New Deal initiatives.
Wow.
And then in Hillsborough, where we sit right now, they spent $572,000 to train for county employees on their so-called unconscious bias.
Unconscious bias? I don't even know I had it. I didn't even know I had it.
That's the training that tells you that you're racist without you knowing you were. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, 500K will tell you that. And then they spent almost $1 million, $950,000 for county employee vehicle allowances with very little transparency.
Yeah.
Right. So these things matter because when you're talking about high cost of living, when you're talking about property taxes, and then you hear about these type of examples, the people have every right to know, and they have every right to be upset because that's their money at the end of the day. Yeah,
and I think the most egregious was in another county, but it was like $7.5 million to build a 1 mile sidewalk. Do you remember that one?
Oh my gosh!
I remember Blaze talking about that one. But so it's unbelievable to see, because they come in here and they want to say, oh well, where are you going to cut? How are you going to cut? How are you going to make that? What of police? What about fire? And they want to have that doom and gloom, go straight to that type of a thought process. But we've got a spending problem, not a revenue problem.
Correct.
And people don't realize I think it's 70% of the property taxes collected are commercial, vacant land, industrial, Airbnbs. They're non-primary residence properties.
Yeah, and it varies from county to county, from city to city. A lot of counties and cities will do just fine without having the revenues coming from homesteaded properties. They can get it through commercial and other means. And so this is very important because that's who's getting crushed right now. You have homeowners here in America, here in Florida, believing they own their own home, but yet they're paying rent to the government over and over again. Rent that goes up based on how successful your state is. Because if you think about it, we're a very successful state. People want to move down here. That means the property values go up. When the property values go up, the tax bill goes up. So why should we be a victim of our own success? Especially if you've done all of the right things, you saved up, you purchased a home. Why should you now be handicapped from fully enjoying your property? And it's not just the homeowners, it's people who want to get into home ownership, like young people. There's a lot of young people who want to build roots in the communities that raise them, in the communities that produce them, and there's no avenue for home ownership, and property tax is a huge barrier because of that. And so when you see Florida DOGE exposes what's going on, these young families have every reason to be upset, to think, wow, I'm not able to get into home ownership because the county's bleeding me dry to spend money on ridiculous DEI and green new scam initiatives. Yeah, this has to end.
Yeah, and Broward County spent over $100,000 with their school board to take them to the Ritz-Carlton in Naples. I would like a Ritz-Carlton trip on,
Same. Yeah, look, it's an issue, and we've taken action in the legislature around some of these things. In fact, one of the bills that I passed this last session was a bill that eliminates Green New Deal policies, the Green New Scam here in Florida, banning the carbon taxes, saying no governmental entity can tax you at a fine or fee or try to get a deal. More money. And that's what we're seeing in some of these cities. They have all these crazy ideas to make 100% of their fleet EVs, electric, right? And it's absurd because if you're not diversifying your energy sources, you're putting all of your eggs in one basket. It's not going to be reliable, and two, it's going to cost more. And so that bill was passed. We worked with the governor's office on it, and we expect him to sign it soon.
Yeah, and three, it only enriches China. Most of those EV parts and all the a lot of the solar stuff comes from China. And then last, one of the main points with that, I believe, especially if you get all of the vehicles to where they are essentially on a grid or on a situation where it's electric. One button can shut you down, just like we just had COVID. We just had the China virus come across, and you could almost see where that was going, right?
100%. And people will say that's a conspiracy theory. Well, if you lived during COVID and you don't forget what you lived through during COVID, you will see that there's no such thing as a conspiracy theory when it comes to these things. They will do it.
Exactly.
The wrong person at the head of government will shut you down through whichever means that is available to them. And if they can push a button to shut down your car, they will do it. And not only that, we learned during these hurricanes, right? We're a state that's prone to hurricanes. We learned that saltwater intrusion into these EV batteries causes these cars to explode. I talked to fire rescue professionals who are running calls out on the beaches, and they told me a lot of the fires, Bernie, were because of these EVs. They were left in the garage, and the salt water came in there. The whole house is in flames. Even these electric scooters, they're saying we're going up in flames. They have to, and it's hard to put out these fires. It's a very harsh chemical type fire that is very hard to put out. So it's an issue of public safety. So think about it. not only is this thing going to go up in flames when we have a big one, but if that's all of the fleet that government's vehicles are composed of, how are they going to do search and rescue in high water areas and what have you?
Yeah.
And now, and at the end of the day, these equipments, these vehicles belong to you ultimately as a taxpayer. So now you're paying more to replace these things that aren't really reliable and won't even save you in a storm because the thing will explode. We have to stop with the nonsense.
Absolutely. And if you just joined us, we're talking with State Representative Berny Jaques here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rimes. And I wanted to shift to our friend Anna Paulina Luna. She's been on the show as well. What do you think some of the highlights? I know I've got a few of her highlights here in my hand, things that she's done. But I love how she's fighting for the people. She's for capping credit card interest rates at 10%. There's been a lot of positive things there.
A lot of positive things. She's fought hard on the election integrity front. Right now nationally, there's the Save America Act that they're trying to pass. Anna Paulina Luna was the tip of the spear in the House, making sure that that thing passed. And now the ball is in the Senate's court. But as you mentioned, she's focused and laser focused on cost of living as well. I mean, when you think about the rates in which the interest rates and on credit cards and things like that, which unfortunately because of high cost of living and because of crazy policies that some local governments, Democrat run and residual effects from the Biden regime, folks are having to live off their credit card a lot of times.
Yeah.
So capping the rates there and making sure that people can have good cost of living situations is front of mind for her. She's a fighter. She works hard, and I love working with her as a state representative.
Yeah, it's super awesome. And the slush funds, she exposed the slush funds, taxpayer-funded slush funds for the congressmen and women that would get in trouble there. Lower prescription drugs. This one hits home for me. I had a bypass heart surgery 5 years ago, and I take statin and I take cut mine literally over in half. It's probably about 60-75% of one of the medications that I would take for my cholesterol levels.
Yeah, I mean, all of those go back to pocketbook, kitchen table issues, right? When it comes to costs of health care, when it comes to government misappropriating your money, I mean, she's on the ball. She's not letting it go. She's been calling folks out on both sides of the aisle who are using the slush fund, to make people be silent as they're abusing their own staffers and what have you. She's not taking anything from anyone. She will call you out, and she's a true patriot, and we should all be proud that she's representing us in the U.S. Congress.
Yeah, absolutely. And another, we I don't think you and I have spoke since the passing of Charlie Kirk, the terrible assassination of Charlie Kirk, and he was on this station prior to our show. He was the hour or two before us. And one of the biggest things that he was talking about at the time was this growth of Sharia law and the radical Muslims and the combination of that with some of the other things happening in the Democratic Party on the Democrat side. But Florida Governor Ron DeSantis banning Sharia law, designated the Muslim Brotherhood and CAIR as terrorist organizations in Florida. I mean, this was a big deal here. This was a big deal.
It was a great move by the governor to sign that bill into law, a bill that I was a proud co-sponsor of during this last session because it had to be done, and we had to get out in front of it. When you see what the Biden regime did with the open borders, the amount of people they let into this country totally unvetted, should scare a lot of people. A lot of them were coming from Sharia-type countries, and now they're trying to implement it here in the United States. And again, this is no conspiracy. We don't have to look too far away. We can look across the pond and see what's happening in London and other European cities where there's no-go zones, and basically things are being governed by Sharia law. But even within our own country, you go up to a place like Minnesota or Dearborn, Michigan, and it's very prevalent. We don't want that to occur here. So we're being very proactive here in the state of Florida to ban Sharia law, to simply say American law is and will always hold supremacy over any other form of foreign law here in our nation. And it's also important to note that a lot of folks like to say, it's not happening in Florida. Why would you do this? Well, first, we should be proactive, right? So why should we wait for the problem to happen before we do anything about it? Secondly, it kind of is. there is a case right now in Broward County. The bill sponsor, Representative Cassell, brought this out. She's down from those neck of the woods. And she said there is a divorce proceeding going on, two Muslim individuals, and they're trying to use Sharia law to enforce the prenup. It's based on Sharia law, and it's talking about things that are totally out of step with American law that would totally be illegal. Yeah. And they're trying to force a Florida court in the United States to enforce Sharia provisions. And so when people say it's not happening, they need to dig a little deeper, and they shouldn't wait for it to happen either. Yeah. And in Florida, no more.
And it's just a radical ideology. I'm reading Dennis Prager's new book, If There Is No God, and he talked about a situation where just this example was a Palestinian man. I forgot which state it was, but he was under surveillance by the FBI, and they thought he had ties to the Muslim Brotherhood or one of the different organizations. And then through that phone taps that they had, they realized that he actually just killed his daughter. He killed his own daughter. Why? You might ask why? For dating a boy. Yeah. And that's against their, exactly, yeah. Mercy kill. And our country should not be bowing to that. This is a Christian-founded nation, Judeo-Christian values. And my hat's off to you again for the death penalty bill that you had put in I believe it was last session. So we got to take a quick break. We'll come back more with Representative Berny Jaques here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Hey, follow us online. We'd love to connect with you at BrandonRimes1 at CQB Show, and we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rimes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Are you a W-2 wage earner making $100,000 or more and feel like taxes are crushing you? What if you could legally reduce your W-2 income using real estate? With strategies like real estate professional status, short-term rentals, high earners are saving tens of thousands of dollars per year. Join us for our workshop and learn how to keep more of what you make. Wednesday, May 6th at Crown and Bull. Mark Hay and Brandon Rimes will be hosting a financial advising workshop for W-2 earners making $100,000 or more. Wednesday, May 6th at Crown and Bull, Main Street, Dunedin. RSVP by calling or texting 813-917-1894. It's a free event. We're going to buy you appetizers, and your first drink will be provided by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. BRimes at KW.com, 813-917-1894. BRIMES at KW.com, 813-917-1894. Thank you so much and have a blessed day. Did you know that we buy houses cash? We can close quickly for a all-cash offer on your real estate properties, residential, commercial, even vacant land. We'll buy your property cash. No cleaning, no showings, and no hassles. You can even possibly stay in your home post-closing. Call Brandon at 813-917-1894. Submit the email at consumerqb.com or call 813-917-1894. consumerqb.com. We buy houses cash and fast. Attention business owners, did you know we have 100% financing options available? Our No Money Down program offers 100% financing for business owners. If you are currently leasing your commercial space, you can purchase real estate for no money down. Additionally, the program offers money for working capital, equipment, and business fixtures. You can even pay off current business debt. Reach out at 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. BRimes at KW.com. And that is our 100% financing, no money down program for business owners. We would love to help you buying, selling, or investing in real estate. 813-917-1894. BRimes at KW.com. Ours Creole Smokehouse, the official Pinellas County restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Say hello to Doug Clark, chef and owner. OursCreole.com. Ours Creole Smokehouse, 310 East Tarpon Avenue, Tarpon Springs. OursCreole.com. Excellent food, wonderful ambiance. Say hello to our friend Doug Clark.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rimes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Greatly appreciate everybody that supports the show, supporting the local economy by supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show and all of our expert contributors. We greatly appreciate that. We've had an uptick in calls lately. Remember, you can reach out to the show hotline, 813-917-1894, and hit us up online at consumerqb.com. Any questions you have relating to the local economy, local business owners, we'll put you right in touch. We've got State Representative Berny Jaques in studio with us. Coming up, I want to ask him about election integrity in the state of Florida. Also, his pick for Florida governor coming up next here. We've got a hot listing at 10001 Waterworks Lane, Riverview, Florida. This is a beautiful listing. It's a 1765 square feet. Private. You've got 2 acres on the lake. It's a gated 2 acres, and you have 1,765 square foot building with detached car, 2-car garage, that is, right here in Tampa Bay. Great opportunity to buy real estate right here in our local market. 369 West Winds Drive, Palm Harbor. Another motivated seller here. This one's on West Winds Drive, Palm Harbor. It's a 322, 1414 square feet, just under quarter-acre lot. And this is in Baywood Village, which is a boater-friendly community. Bring your boat, bring your jet skis, enjoy that Florida lifestyle to the fullest. And you've got a community boat ramp where you can back your boat and skis right in and go out to the Gulf of America right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. 369 West Winds Drive, Palm Harbor. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. You can see all of our radio, TV show expert contributors at consumerqb.com.
She ain't prejudice, he's just made in America.
All right, Berny Jaques, election integrity. Governor DeSantis passes the Florida version of the SAVE Act. Tell us about it, please.
Yeah, that's right. So earlier in our last segment, I mentioned how Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna was the tip of the spear in Washington and making sure the House passed the Save America Act. But here in the state of Florida, we passed our own version, a bill that I voted for in the House and made its way to the governor's desk, and he signed it recently, just yesterday, actually. And the bill is simple. It enforces current law, and it verifies that you are a citizen before you are registered to vote.
Novel idea.
Novel idea. Imagine that. Look, it's already against the law for non-enforcement mechanisms right up front while you're registering, so we can know who's who and what's what. And we have list maintenance, the voter roll maintenance, to make sure that we're constantly monitoring it, to make sure that folks are on the rolls that are supposed to be there and not those who are voting illegally. And so another thing that I really like about the bill is that it adds in your ID now, it will say whether or not you're a citizen or not. And so it's a last line of defense. If you're showing up to the polls and it says non-citizen, the poll worker knows to not hand you that ballot, to not hand you a ballot that can go live until and unless you can prove that you are a U.S. citizen and can vote in our elections. It limits the influence of foreigners in our elections and bans foreign money in our campaigns. And it also has a new oath, attestation that you have to take to say whether or not you are a dual citizen if you're going to hold office and run for office here in the state of Florida. The people have to know.
Yeah, I love it. Your pick for governor?
Byron Donalds, all the way.
Okay, Byron Donald. Let's get him on the show.
Would love that. Would love to work with you on that for sure.
Appreciate that. All right, State Representative Berny Jaques. Check him out online. How can people support you, Bernie?
They can go to my social media at Berny Jaques. I'm on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter.com, Facebook, you name it. And I just joined TikTok, actually. So they can find me on on the TikTok.
Good stuff. We'll link up there. All right. Coming up next, Dianne Wheeler in studio. Home Hub AI coming up. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rimes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back, Consumer Quarterback Show. We're welcoming in Dianne Wheeler, Home Hub AI. We're going to talk with her about her business and why you need to have a data-driven story. We'll talk about that here coming up on the show. Also got some interesting content. Another registered Democrat judge, Tiffany Bake Carper, released a bond. We'll talk about this story here in a minute. I want to get to that later, but let's go to this listing here, Dave. We got 7154 Shoreline Boulevard. Shoreline Boulevard is one of our $1 million listings. This one's in Weeki Wachee, Florida. This is a business opportunity, commercial building, and waterfront real estate right here, all wrapped into one. It's got multiple income streams. Great opportunity to buy real estate, especially for that business-minded entrepreneurial investor. We have a Suzuki servicer. It's a provider with an established motor repair business. You've got a retail store, a rental opportunity as well for the live-in manager on site or potentially for a short-term rental. Kayak, boat, and paddleboard rentals. Dock space, Weeki Wachee River access, multi-use property at 7154 Shoreline Boulevard. This is the Weeki Wachee Marina for sale. Great opportunity up there in the northern part of our listening audience. 9901 Bay Drive, Gibsonton, Florida. This is a beautiful corner lot location, single-family home, two-story home at the end of a dead-end road. So you've got no through traffic there. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath. 3,500 square feet, quarter-acre lot, 23 minutes to downtown Tampa, and you're directly on the Alafaya River with wide-open water views, a true boating paradise here. This is access to the Tampa Bay, and you've got 135 feet of river frontage and also extra space there, vaulted ceilings, screened lanai, beautiful dock space there for your boat, your vessels, and you can see all of our real estate listings at PlatinumMVPteam.kw.com, and you can see all of our radio and TV show expert contributors at consumerqb.com. All right, Dianne Wheeler, welcome in.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Yeah, tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so Home Hub AI is an app, a mobile app, that allows a homeowner to go ahead and track all of the facets of their home, which doesn't quite sound that sexy, if you will. Okay. But one of the things I will tell you is that as a homeowner, I found the overwhelming amount of information from the point of the actual transaction. You know how many papers and things you have to keep track of, to the fact that all of a sudden I needed to maintain the home. I needed to understand who was doing what parts of the home, what was connected, what wasn't connected, et cetera, et cetera. And one day I kind of sat there and said, gee, I wish it was sort of like my car that told me what it needed and when. And this idea was born. And so fast forward 2 years, here we are, Home Hub AI. We just are launching our latest release. I think it's really cool. And it's going to make people be able to have this data-driven story. So for homeowners, by a homeowner is what I like to say.
I love that. Yeah, you're on the Google Play Store, the Apple Store as well. Home Hub, track, protect, and grow your home's value. Because when you're, especially think about it from a first-time home buyer standpoint, maybe they've lived in a dorm or lived with their parents for a long time, and they've got all these new responsibilities, all these new gadgets they got to figure out, and it's not easy.
Yeah, there isn't a college class or even a high school class about how to maintain your home.
Right.
Even certain things such as how to put shelving up or how to connect your TV or just the little things.
Sure.
We see time and time and time again people reaching out and asking for help. And then on the other side of things, we start to see people saying, How do I know if the person coming in and helping me is legit?
Right.
How do I make sure they're doing what they need to be doing? And so there's an awful lot that goes into home ownership. And one of my passion projects is to make home ownership easier once the transaction is done. There's a lot of people focusing on the transaction. Fantastic. But my whole thing is when you take your key, you open the door, you walk on in, you don't feel ghosted. You feel like you have somebody there, something there to support you through the journey.
I like that. Yeah, it's something as simple as just the other day I had this kind of revelation. I'm like, man, does it have to be that complicated? So some of these appliances they're making way too complicated. Mm-hmm. I pulled out something from the fridge. It might have been soup or something like that. Mm-hmm. We've got great leftovers in the house. So lots of our in-laws are in town helping out with the babies, and there'd be nice leftovers in there. I'm like, okay, let's pull this. It was frozen. Frozen. So the fridge is like set on a freezer temperature.
Yes.
And remember the old way, you just scroll it from a 7 to an 8 or, now you got to figure out, you got to pull out some kind of playbook and do a whole programming lesson to figure out how to turn the fridge up, actually, in that case, right? The temperature up so it's not freezing my soup.
I'm going to go ahead and answer this with, I'm not a techie. First and foremost, I am not an early adopter tech person. I usually have this saying, I didn't know I always wanted to be in the tech sector with this. But what I have found is that there really is a gap between the folks who program and who create the programs for us to use appliances and then the people who actually use the programs. And if you've ever read through some of those instructions, sometimes you literally feel like you're going in circles.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I hope that our app with a little AI is going to help to translate some of that stuff. And the AI behind it, her name is Val.
Okay.
And it stands for valuable. It's an AI assistant. And you can ask her a question. She knows based on what you have input your appliance manufacturers like. She knows how to help you. And she translates it into human speak, into everyday speak. So
yeah, I love that. And so do you offer services as well or through the AI or through the Home Hub AI?
Yeah. So interestingly, the start of Home Hub AI for the app was born from wanting to track our own progress in our own house. And there was another company I started first called FI Home Services. And we're not going to get into what FI stands for. Use your imagination.
Okay.
But that company came up and it was really a subscription service where our techs would go in and handle people's maintenance on a quarterly basis. So thinking about changing filters, light bulbs, batteries on smoke detectors, things that we always know we need to stay on top of. But when you ask someone, hey, when was the last time you refreshed the caulking on your windows? Oftentimes they're like, I think I did that last year. And so we were looking for a way to truly be able to digitally track that maintenance. As you fast forward to the app, another thing we came up with is that, boy, wouldn't it be great to be able to also make recommendations for local businesses and trades and vendors who can do the work. And we've had an opportunity to meet with them to check out their licensing, to check out their status of Florida, make sure they're in good standing with the state, make sure that they're insured properly. And so if you are in the app and you pull up your home and you say, I need a new roof, I need a plumber, I need an HVAC person, etc., they can actually go in and click on get recommendation. And right now we are starting as of yesterday to build our pool of recommendations for all of the zip codes, not just here in Florida, but this I think can go nationwide.
I like that. Yeah, we're talking with Dianne Wheeler here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Home Hub AI, and the website is homehubai.info for more information. Developing your data-driven story, and a lot of it, when you think about today's, busy environment, there's a lot of single parents out there. There's, even if it's a 2-family household, you've got so many things happening. And as a business owner, you're running your business, but you're also a social media now. You're a social media influencer. You got all these different things. So I love the idea of simplifying, those aspects of the home ownership process, the home maintenance process. I mean, I think that's a good idea.
So there's another component of it too, because I do love busyness and I do love, I'd rather be doing everything but maintaining my home type of stories.
Right.
But there's also a thing that happens, and I heard this mentioned earlier, cognitive bias.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, our brain takes a shortcut when looking at something that we've looked at many, many, many times, like your home.
Right.
It actually posts up almost a picture of what it had looked like, not what it looks like right now. Imagine if you're looking at the same wall day after day after day, and you don't see the slight changes that could indicate moisture, that could indicate growth. Those are some of the things that being able to have a picture, compare it to the next picture, allows you to do without really engaging, yourself outside of that cognitive bias that happens with everybody.
It's true. That's so true. Here's something in the headlines too. We're going to talk more with Dianne about her business too, but we're going to hit some of the current events, things happening out there. This one was just, it really, it speaks to the whole idea of what is an American. What does it mean to be sovereign? So from the Hodge twins, our friends at the Hodge twins here, over 100 Turkish women flew to America just to have babies, then signed up for Medicaid. Their kids got automatic birthright citizenship while American taxpayers footed the bill for delivery and follow-up care. This is birth tourism on steroids. End birthright citizenship now. And you see these stories, and you also hear stories about how in China there's I think it's something like 500 companies that will actually facilitate this type of activity, and they'll bring people over. And as long as they're born on the United States, similar with Cuba in the past, you've heard these stories, we've got to get smart as a country, because if we don't start tightening up some of these rules, and it's just like we talked about in a previous segment with Sharia law, we start allowing these other ideologies to come into our country, we're not going to have a country. We're not going to have a country as we see it. And unfortunately, there's so many people that are taking advantages of these loopholes, these ways to come in and manipulate the system. And it's the taxpayers that are footing the bill. And just look at Minneapolis, Minnesota. Look at Dearborn, Michigan, or even California that we saw. And what's even worse is that these people, especially the politicians, and I'm thinking of Governor Newsom when he did this. You had the Nick Shirley, the influencer Nick Shirley. He goes out to California, and he's spotting out these daycares. And he goes out and you see these videos, and it's pretty blatantly obvious that he's at the door. He's trying to figure out, is this an active business or not? But then you had Governor's Office of California put out a post essentially painting Nick Shirley as a sexual predator of some sort, saying, hey, where are your kids? Where are your kids? Can I see your kids? So wouldn't you think the politician that's in charge of running a state with massive losses, and not only monetary losses, life losses, you got homeless people being, dying in the streets, people leaving your state, coming to our state in Florida, wouldn't you think that a governor like that would be, happy that somebody's pointing out the fraud? Oh, no, they're probably in on it, right? So that kind of tells the whole story. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back more with Dianne Wheeler here and talk more about her business, Home Hub AI. She's got Instagram as well, YouTube channel. Check her out online. She's also on LinkedIn. We're going to have a quick break, come right back and talk more about that and other local events, things happening here in Tampa Bay. By the way, we have our W-2 seminar coming up. It's a free investment seminar. Now, donations will be accepted that will benefit Will's Way Foundation, which helps underprivileged children here in Tampa Bay. But are you a W-2 earner making $100,000 or more and feel like taxes are crushing you? Come to our free event. It's on Wednesday, May 6th at Crown and Bull in Dunedin. We hope to see you there. Quick break, right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Long lines at the airport? Check out Tampa Bay's premier private jet source. I'm Brandon Rimes for Will Smith Aviation. Aircraft management, acquisition, and sales, luxury jet escapes, and packages. Check them out online, willsmithaviation.com. That's willsmithaviation.com, or call the show. I'll put you right in touch directly with Captain Will Smith. AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com for all of your non-woke American-made products. American values, Christian, conservative American values. Say hello to my business partner, Jim McCune at AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. DavidReynoldsJewelryandCoin.com. Say hello to Shane Socash, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, 4009 Central Avenue, St. Petersburg, online at DavidReynoldsJewelryandCoin.com for all of your precious metals and jewelry design. DavidReynoldsJewelryandCoin.com. Hey, Brandon Rimes here for Jason Coble, owner of Coble Law. Coble Law has been handling injury cases in Tampa for the past 14 years and has a specialized approach focused on limiting client cost and maximizing client profit. TampaWorkCompLaw.com, TampaWorkCompLaw.com. Jason Coble, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, personal injury law, and work comp law. Hey, Brandon Rimes here for our friends at TargetSurveying.net for all of your surveying needs. Land surveying firm providing services for real estate since 1992, and they are statewide. Check them out online, TargetSurveying.net. That's TargetSurveying.net. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rimes. You can reach me at 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. Online at ConsumerQB.com. That's ConsumerQB, like quarterback.com. Buying, selling, investing, or refinancing? We would love to talk to you. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes, online at ConsumerQB.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right. Thanks for hanging around with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Always helping you win in your real estate deals. As you know, my wife Lindsay and I own a top real estate team here in Tampa Bay, and we feature our real estate listings live on air as part of a strategy to help our sellers sell faster for more money with less headaches, maximizing that exposure on the profit on the sale of your real estate listings. We've got a new one here on Brookside Drive. It's 704 Brookside Drive, Clearwater. This was a 2, 1.5, and you've got 1,371 square feet, just under a quarter-acre lot. Looks like a nice entry-level home, affordable property here in Clearwater. It's got an open layout and natural light coming through as well. Great opportunity right here in Tampa Bay. We also have Carloway Hills Drive in Waimama, 10248 Carloway Hills Drive. This one is a 322, 1,451 square feet. This is in the desirable neighborhood of Stone Ridge at Ayersworth. It's the community there. And you're down in Waimama, so it's a growing area. That southern part, kind of southeastern part of Hillsborough County, close to Big Bend Road, 301. Fully fenced-in backyard. You got privacy there. Dedicated laundry room and Zori access to an impressive lineup of resort-style amenities, including a sparkling swimming pool, modern clubhouse with fitness center, basketball courts, and more. You can see all of our listings online and search the MLS at PlatinumMVPteam.kw.com. And you can see all of our radio, TV show expert contributors and link over to our YouTube channel at ConsumerQB.com.
Only in America.
All right, we're talking with Dianne Wheeler, and her company is Home Hub AI, and the website is homehubai.info. Check them out online, and you can also find them on our website, of course. And Dianne, what else is topical out there? What are you thinking?
It's interesting when I started on this whole journey that maintenance was something that people in the older generations just did. They didn't really talk about it. Kind of like, my mom did the spring cleaning, my father did the maintenance around the house. That wasn't necessarily passed down through the generations, if you will. And so there is a gap, I believe, of truly understanding what has to be maintained in your home. However, when you really start understanding the lifespan of appliances, the materials, of warranties, if you have something that breaks in too early, what tends to happen is the warrantor will say, hey, how did you maintain it?
Right.
And then you get this, deer in the headlight sort of look, and I didn't know I was supposed to maintain it. And as I've traveled into this crazy subject that's not talked about, I have absolutely realized that when there are studies been done in large cities, Philadelphia, St. Louis, as to why certain areas are more dilapidated than the other, the main contributing factor comes back to maintenance. So again, our app really was meant to start helping homeowners to become more familiar with how to take care of their homes. But then, as I mentioned, warranties. Boy, this becomes the digital brain because you can store all of that information. And then you start to say, well, if I put hurricane windows in, I get an insurance break. Yes, only if you maintain the certificate. So as you think about the app that has the ability to maintain the certificate, it becomes this really cool one place that everything home is there. And we actually added a feature that if the home becomes listed, the home profile can switch to the new buyer of the home. So again, similar to that, I'll say Carfax feature where whoever owns the car has that data. This is kind of what we're coming up with in order to make sure that homeowners have awareness, but then they also have the whole story. So.
Yeah, and it probably has built-in features to remind you about certain.
Yes.
You can set that up, and that's it's part of the household duties, and everybody's looking for a way to save money. So the more you maintain, the less you have to spend in the long run. Something as simple as the air filters. What's your thoughts on this Florida DOGE? It's interesting, isn't it? When the Florida DOGE, that Department of Government Efficiency. So the latest one is CFO says St. Lucie County overspent by $46 million. This is the latest one to come out, and they're pushing for local property tax cuts. $46 million is the latest one, and this is one of the highest in the state in terms of property tax rates. St. Lucie County has one of the highest property tax rates in Florida, and residents feel that they can feel the impact. It says went up by $123 million over 6 years. Gainesville was very similar as well. Gainesville had a significant increase. And because a lot of people, the next question is, well, how did you come up with that? What's the methodology here? Well, basically, what they look at is they're going to grant each county a 3% increase. Then they give them an extra 2 or 3% as a bonus. And then they say, well, you had some more people move in, so we'll go ahead and give you an allowance for that. But these numbers that are coming in are significantly higher across the state. Different counties, especially Broward County, Dade County, Orange County there in Orlando. Some of those more densely populated, of course, you see it expanded or expounded, and there's a lot more waste, fraud, and abuse that people would expect. But generally speaking, I agree with you as far as, we got to start figuring out how we can create more affordability throughout the state. So Florida DOGE kind of goes along with, saving money.
100%. And if we think about that on a much smaller level, the individual household,
right.
Can you imagine overspending? I mean, even the ratio.
Right.
Where would the money come from?
Right.
And so we have to hold folks accountable that are making decisions, and you have to almost look at it like a business. What is the ROI for the decisions being made? Yeah. And if it's not impacting the things that really speak to the American homeowner dream, then we have to really start asking the tough questions.
Right. And credit, where does it go? Credit cards. A lot of people put stuff on credit cards that they can't afford. They're putting groceries on there. Unfortunately, gas is up temporarily. That's going to come down. Hopefully within the next few weeks, we'll see that, curtail significantly. But, and I love what, Anna Paulina and some of the other politicians are doing, capping those interest rates at 10%. 20+% is just overwhelming for some families, and they can't get caught up. So final thoughts back to you, Dianne Wheeler. Company is homehubai.info. Final thought.
We'd love to have the entire nation download it, but certainly here in Florida, we're becoming a tech hub. We're becoming known as the place to be if you want to be an innovator. And every single person, every homeowner in this area can help us make this come true. And so I just encourage everyone to go to the app stores, download it, put your house in, see how cool it is, give us feedback, all of that stuff. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. Check her out online, homehubai.info, Dianne Wheeler. Thanks for coming in. You're also on Instagram.com, myhomehubai. Got your YouTube channel there as well, and we'll have to cross-promote our channels as well. We're getting some videos in the tens of thousands now. We got a couple over a million, so it's exciting to see when you get the big views on social media. So thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Hey, another great show. We had State Representative Berny Jaques on the program as well. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rimes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.